show. So let's move along. We got some major angles that I want to discuss for sure that we have to discuss. So we're going to start with Adam Cole and MJF. So they lost on Saturday to FTR at Collision, which wasn't the surprise that they lost, but what was in question was whether they would remain friends. And we got this memorable moment here, if I could pull up the Malapert Smark TV that we use from time to time. But we got this moment where they lost, and we really didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if MJF was going to stay friends with Adam Cole or hit him in the back of the head. But God, MJF is so good. But in regards to this angle, I'll start with Brian, since you're new here. You take the floor. What is going on in this angle? What is going on here?
Well, first of all, I gotta say I'm impressed that you're able to just put that footage up right now. Like, I'm really impressed with the production of this show. So kudos to you and everybody involved. That's very
Kahan.
cool.
All credit to Kahan.
Yeah, all credit to Kahan. And
thank you. I appreciate that.
And before I get into that angle, I'm glad that you mentioned what the Malapert Smark Wrestling was, because I thought this was the Quantum Flux, and I'm like, you got two different names here, and I'm like, Malapert, what the hell is that? But I'm glad you explained what that means. I'm not Albert Einstein, but I'm also not a dum-dum. But I did not know the term Malapert.
Thank you for that. Not a common term. And Quantum Flux is the name of our network. I hope to have more podcasts on this network eventually.
Okay.
At this point,
the parent company.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Got it.
This is our only show at the moment.
All right. But more to come. I got you. In terms of that angle, so I thought the match that they had on Collision last week against FTR was freaking great. FTR is awesome. Adam Cole and MJF are two phenomenal talents. This storyline has been a weird one for me because the signposts seem to all indicate the obvious, and based on ratings, because I saw that the episode of Collision where they were the main event, like it did numbers higher. It was the second highest rated episode of Collision outside of the premiere, which is impressive. And also knowing that their T-shirts are selling out the wazoo, it's like the number one selling AEW merch. That double clothesline T-shirt and anything dealing with MJF and Adam Cole is like hot. So I watched that match and I saw it a day later. I didn't see spoilers, and I was kind of like, as it went on, I'm like, you got to strike when the iron's hot. I thought maybe they put the straps on them and then they do the rematch at Wembley. They obviously did not do that. They lost, and then had the angle at the end where, like, is MJF gonna hit him with the belt? Him being Adam Cole, and he didn't. It's a good story right here that's happening. The promo segment on Dynamite, I thought was good, but it left me feeling a certain way where I'm like, I don't know if fans are as into seeing these two wrestle as they are seeing them teaming together against somebody else. Because when they announced on Dynamite that when MJF had mentioned that, hey, you're not deserving this rematch, but of any rematch, you're deserving of the rematch on the biggest show that we can give you. And the crowd popped and everything for All In Wembley, but for me, I don't know, like the reception of that didn't seem to really strike the crowd as much as I think maybe the creative minds were hoping for. Because I'm not, at least for me as a fan, like I'm not at a point where I want to see these two wrestle each other. I want to see them as a team still. I think there's so much more juice on that fruit.
Yeah.
Versus them being against each other. And they're obviously moving the numbers, like they're ratings movers. Like anytime you have Adam Cole and MJF together, like people are tuning in, they're invested. And I think that there was some, I would have pivoted. I would have put the belts on them. I would have had them go over FTR because I think the fans are more invested in them as a team than they are is them in this babyface versus babyface matchup at All In. Um, so
That's
yeah,
why
so
my question was, what the hell is going on? And you're giving such a good answer because
yeah,
I am so confused by this whole thing. So
yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
let me pivot to Vlad for a second. Vlad, let me just ask you, in terms of the storyline, it's starting to be a little weird to me. Well, first of all, the world title means everything to MJF, right? In the storyline. Why is he giving
Sure.
Adam Cole a shot at the title just like that? Okay, I know they're friends. Okay. Secondly, we've seen this babyface flash of MJF recently in the past. It happens. You know, he did it with CM Punk where he was getting some sympathy, and then he always just turns in the end back to what he was.
Right.
So I'm, I'm very confused though. Like they're confusing me, and I'm thinking MJF has something to do with this. But are you seeing any holes in this storyline, and are you seeing that this can go somewhere?
Well, as far as the overall angle, it's been hit or miss. You know, the matches have been good, but then what about all that comedy, all that junk that we had to kind of sit through them at the restaurants and them at the bars and you know, there's been good stuff, but there's also been a lot of crummy stuff that really is beneath MJF as a talent, I feel. But I don't. But you know, in some ways, it's good because we don't know where it's going and it's not predictable. I think there's some positives to that. Like you don't want your wrestling to be predictable. You kind of want it. You want to keep the fans guessing a bit, and that's what's kind of happening here. I don't know who's going to. Somebody's going to turn on somebody on this you know, on this match when they have the Wembley title match. But who's it going to be? It could be Cole. It could be MJF. We don't know. I mean, it could be a plot by Cole just to, you know, to get a title shot, you know? I mean, to get a title shot.
That would be pretty wicked. Taking advantage of Adam Cole's vulnerabilities to get a title shot, pretending to be friends with him. That would be a pretty crazy heel turn. I would agree with that.
I don't know. I mean, of course, money is on MJF still being the heel because he's so good at it, but I mean, this guy's good at everything. He's good at being a face. He's good at being a heel. I mean, yeah, obviously he's better as a heel, but he could do both. And I don't know. I can't say where it's going, but as far as the overall angle, it's been hit or miss for me. I like MJF a lot, as anybody that knows me knows that. But you know, I kind of defend Cole a lot too, despite criticism that he gets. You know, and I know he gets a lot of criticism for being thin. And, you know, I've always kind of had a soft spot for him for whatever reason. I don't, maybe because I'm a skinny guy myself. I don't know. But I've always had a soft spot for Adam Cole.
Well, this is the best that they've done with Adam Cole in AEW so far. But, Robert, can you give us any thoughts on this? What are you thinking? What is going through your mind here?
I mean, I mentioned this 2 weeks ago on the podcast. Remember, I think, I'm sure you guys remember when I said the hints of like a swerve or a turn was happening a little too soon. Because this pairing of MJF and Adam Cole, it's the fans are really, really invested in it, and like what Brian mentioned, you know, there's the merchandise, it's like selling like crazy. So I feel like they should have milked this a little bit longer before even hinting at, you know, some tension between the two of them. They should have just kept rolling with this team, like, you know, just instead of like going against each other. So it sort of reminds me how, like, you know, when the Acclaimed had a really hot run, and then I don't know I'm not sure what happened with the booking, but they just kind of killed it. Like the momentum just kind of died. I'm kind of afraid something like that will happen with this MJF Adam Cole angle, where they could have just milked this tag team a lot longer, you know, and then we know eventually they're gonna, you know, fight each other, but it didn't have to be this soon. That's all I'm saying.
just
Yeah,
because
I
they
agree.
made shirts for them and merchandise, I don't think that means that they're gonna stay together. Because I think it's easy to make T-shirts these days. They make T-shirts nonstop.
No,
So
it's easy to make T-shirts, but it's hard for them to sell as
that's
well
true.
as they've been
Yeah.
doing.
That's true.
And
Yes,
and
I
I
agree.
absolutely agree with Rob, where he's saying it's like there was you. I'm sure that Tony Khan in his mind had his story that he wanted to tell with these two, but sometimes you've got to pivot. And I think when you realize you've stumbled upon something that is hot that the fans are liking and enjoying, the MJF Adam Cole pairing as a team, it's it's like maybe that wasn't in his original plan, but it's like it's working. It's moving ratings. It's moving merchandise. Maybe because I mean, look, we're all no dum dums here. We know that obviously they're good. It's gonna fall out, and they're gonna have their one on one match, whatever. But
Yeah.
did we need to just rush to it as quickly as we did? And I'm always willing to give the creatives the benefit of the doubt from one episode to the next. I just think that, especially seeing what happened on Dynamite of this week, I just think they missed the point. I really do. I think they would have been well served to either have put the straps on them, on MJF and Adam Cole, and do the rematch of them against FTR at Wembley, and then maybe have some angle there that
Yeah,
then
kind
catapults
of
them
sounds better.
towards.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like again, like I'm all of the emotion of it all. Where it's like I like both these two, and Vlad, you mentioned MJF is I mean, he says it. He's a generational talent, and Adam
Yeah.
Cole is fucking phenomenal. I know people talk about his physique and all that, and I've seen Adam Cole's physique go up and down through the years because I used to see him all the time in PWG, where he looks much more healthier now than he did when he was like he had like the I don't know the bigger body, but he didn't look as good. But it's like I don't give a shit about physique. It's like Adam Cole is a great wrestler. He's a great talker. He's a great personality. He's awesome. MJF is awesome. I'm just not in. I'm not. I don't want to see them wrestle each other. Not yet.
As friends, they're gonna
As
shake hands like
and,
it's a
and
ring
as
of honor.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as friends, and I mean, I think the way that I'm seeing the storyline going, where I do think that it's going to be Adam Cole it's like a double turn where he's
Yeah.
the one that is going to ultimately stab MJF in the back because and again, I mean, what the fuck do I know? I can't because they've done this pseudo babyface turn with MJF before, and he went right back to being his standard heelness of it all.
Yeah,
For them to do that again, where he's coming out,
yeah,
bearing his soul,
yeah. I
telling the
know.
story again about the quarters that were thrown at him and
Yeah.
Drew Boy pick it up. It just seems way too soon to try to tease fans' minds about him turning babyface, and then ultimately him being the one that is MJF and is the ultimate heel. I think it's Adam Cole who is going to be the snake that
Yeah.
will ultimately stab
Yeah.
him in the back.
All right. Well, listen, we're 20 minutes into the show. That was a nice, good, deep discussion.